So what if I told you the biggest retirement mistake you could possibly make isn't retiring too early? Actually, it's retiring too late. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack the hidden trap of working way longer than you actually need to. So many Americans spend absolutely decades meticulously focusing on the retirement planning, only to end up losing some of their best, most vibrant years of freedom. It's like they're trapped by this illusion, right? They're just sitting there at their desks waiting for a green light that is simply never going to turn on. They're losing years of freedom waiting for a signal that never comes. And today, we're going to figure out if you're stuck in that exact same trap. I really want you to ask yourself, what if you have already reached financial independence, but you literally don't even realize it? It happens all the time. Many people are completely paralyzed, waiting for some magical signal from the universe to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, it's safe to step away now. But guess what? That signal doesn't exist. Instead, people just keep grinding away out of sheer habit, trading time they can't get back for money they don't even need. And this brings us right to the very first, and honestly perhaps the most common red flag that you should have already packed up your desk.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Sign number one is what I like to call the moving goalpost. This happens when your retirement savings target just keeps creeping up and you can't logically explain why. We see this across literally all walks of life. I'm talking about dedicated school teachers who've poured their absolute hearts into the classroom, exhausted engineers, small business owners, you name it. It's driven by pure retirement anxiety, that deep-seated, totally understandable fear of running out of money. You hit your target, but instead of celebrating your early retirement, what do? You just invent a brand new, even higher target.
To put this into perspective, consider a real-world couple I know, currently 61 years old. Back when they were 55, their big goal was $1 million. That was the magic number. But then they hit 58, and suddenly the goal jumped to $1.2 million. By age 60, no way. Now they needed $1.5 million. Why does this happen? Well, it's because their sense of retirement readiness wasn't anchored to concrete financial reality anymore. It was anchored to fleeting feelings, scary economic headlines, and casual conversations with friends. Their goalposts just kept getting pushed further and further down the field. But what most retirees don't realize is that constantly changing your target number usually happens for one specific reason. You are comparing your life to generic financial industry benchmarks. You're scrolling through articles meant for millions of different people, instead of sitting down and evaluating your actual retirement lifestyle needs. A generic benchmark on some financial website, it doesn't know your life, it doesn't know your home or your unique spending habits. It's like trying to wear a one-size-fits-all shoe. It's just never going to fit perfectly. Let's look at what happened when this exact couple actually mapped out their own math. Their situation was entirely different from the generic advice. Their guaranteed retirement income was absolutely rock solid, with about $62,000 coming in from Social Security and another $52,000 from a super conservative 3.75% portfolio withdrawal rate. They had a whopping $114,000 in income. But their actual spending, once we took away all those expensive commuting and work costs, they were only spending $96,000. They had a massive, incredibly comfortable cushion built right in. When they finally saw that math laid out in front of them, the wife literally paused, looked at the numbers, and asked this exact question. We could have retired earlier, couldn't we? And the answer was a resounding absolute yes. Those extra 2 years they worked, they didn't meaningfully reduce their financial risk, and it certainly didn't change their lifestyle. What it did do was cost them precious time in their early 60s that unfortunately they can never, ever get back. And this leads us right into a really brilliant bonus realization. True retirement readiness isn't measured by hitting some arbitrary 401k balance you read about online. It is measured by confirming that your current retirement savings and income streams can successfully fund your desired life. That's the whole point, right? If your investments already support your lifestyle, you aren't building a nest egg anymore. You are just stockpiling money you will probably never even spend. Which brings us to sign number 2. You are emotionally retired, but physically still working. This is the heavy, heavy toll of burnout. We see this constantly with business owners who just can't let go, veterans totally accustomed to the daily grind, and healthcare workers who have completely depleted their own energy reserves caring for others. They're trading their limited, precious time for money they simply no longer need, mostly because their entire identity has become entirely tied up in their job title. Let's do a quick reality check. If you find yourself dreading Mondays, frantically counting down the hours until Friday afternoon, burning through your PTO the literal second you earn it, or just completely mentally checking out during meetings, you, my friend, are experiencing work avoidance. Spending more energy avoiding your work than actually doing it means your mind has already left the building.
That is a massive red flag that you are absorbing unnecessary stress for a paycheck you don't even require anymore.
Here's another bonus sign to watch out for. Pay attention to when your daydreams about your retirement lifestyle start to completely overtake your career ambitions. If you find yourself spending your Tuesday mornings mapping out future road trips or plotting a garden remodel rather than planning your next big work project, you need to listen to what your mind is telling you. Your mind is already signaling loud and clear that you are entirely ready for financial freedom. And this is exactly where so many people get stuck. I want to tell you an emotional story about a 63-year-old operations director. He was completely, utterly burned out, but he kept telling himself that classic lie: just one more year. Well, he stayed for 3 more years, all to add an extra $200,000 after tax to his portfolio. But the price he paid for that money was incredibly steep. He paid for it with sky-high blood pressure, lost sleep, and rapidly declining energy.
But look at this incredible transformation. When he finally walked away at age 66, something amazing happened. Within just 6 short months, his blood pressure completely normalized, he lost weight, and his energy levels surged back to life. He told me, "I feel like I got my life back." The truth here is undeniable. Simply stepping away actually cured the physical toll that overworking had caused him. This right here is the mistake that costs retirees years of their freedom. Absorbing corporate stress when you have already achieved financial independence is unequivocally the worst trade you can ever make. I mean, think about it. Your health, your energy, and your time have become infinitely more valuable than your next paycheck.
Now we arrive at sign number 3, and honestly, this is the most financially impactful sign of the entire bunch: the hidden tax trap. Every single extra year you work unnecessarily could be quietly compounding a massive future tax problem for your retirement income. It's like a ticking time bomb for your wealth.
So, let's break down exactly how this works in plain English. By continuing to work and draw a high salary, you are basically filling up your current tax brackets. Doing this completely destroys your golden window of opportunity to do strategic Roth conversions on your traditional IRA and 401k accounts. And without those conversions, well, your pre-tax accounts just swell up, leading to massive required minimum distributions, or RMDs, down the road. This is a huge, huge retirement tax planning oversight.
Let's look at how this builds up in a real-world scenario. Take Michael, a 59-year-old corporate employee. Retiring at 60 would have allowed him to strategically convert about $70,000 a year into a Roth IRA at very low tax rates. But by choosing to work until 63, he stacked his high salary directly on top of his vesting stock units. This completely crowded out his lower tax brackets and literally forced him into a brutal 32% tax rate. Ouch.
And because he lost that critical window to do those Roth conversions, his traditional accounts just kept growing unchecked. By working those 3 extra years, his future RMDs at age 73 increased by a staggering $20,000. Let me repeat that: $20,000 of forced, fully taxable income hitting his tax return every single year for the rest of his life, all because he worked when he didn't need to.
What happens next actually surprises a lot of Americans. By working longer, you actually lose the chance to pay lower taxes on money that is inevitably going to be taxed anyway. And worse, this forced income can even push you into higher Medicare IRMA brackets. That means you literally end up paying more for your healthcare premiums simply because you worked a few extra years for money you didn't even need. How crazy is that?
When you zoom out and look at the big picture, you start to realize these 3 signs feed into a vicious, endless cycle. The moving goalpost keeps you working. Working burns you out while simultaneously ballooning those traditional pre-tax balances. Then that looming higher tax burden makes you feel financially insecure, which, you guessed it, makes you want to move the goalpost yet again. It's a psychological trap that keeps perfectly prepared seniors chained to their desks. I absolutely love this story about a 62-year-old guy named John. He finally sat down, looked at his math, realized his tax situation was deteriorating by the day, and recognized his own severe burnout. He looked up, totally stunned, and asked, "Wait, I've been financially independent for 3 years, haven't I?" Once he saw the absolute truth in the numbers, he retired within 60 days. He was free the whole time, he just needed to actually see the facts.
So, the absolutely crucial point I want you to take away today is that you have the power to break this vicious cycle right now. You can reclaim your senior finance independence and step completely out of the trap by running what we call a readiness reality check. It basically takes the emotion and the fear out of the decision and replaces it with pure, actionable clarity. Here are the 3 steps you need to take. Step 1,
Compare your total guaranteed income to your actual real-world spending. Step 2, project your traditional balances out into the future so you actually understand your future retirement taxes and RMDs. And step 3, evaluate your healthcare gap until you reach retirement age for Medicare and see if ACA subsidies can successfully bridge that gap. If the math works out, you aren't waiting on readiness, you are just actively choosing to delay your own life.
Please, whatever you do, stop waiting for a magical feeling of readiness that is never going to arrive. Feelings react to news cycles and fear. Numbers tell you the actual truth. Sitting down and running these exact calculations gives you a level of clarity that will completely change the next 2 decades of your life for the better. Are you ready to stop moving the goalpost? Or are you going to let another precious year of your freedom slip away, waiting for a signal that will never come? The numbers are right in front of you. The choice is entirely yours. If you want to reclaim your time and finally optimize your retirement plan, hit that subscribe button to join our community. And check out the link below for free in-depth training. It's time to step into the vibrant retirement you've already earned.